back to Enchanting English. I believe everyone is doing well. I think I disappointed many of you because I couldn't do any videos for the past 1 month, and there's a reason for that. In fact, everyone in my family was affected with COVID-19, and we were in quarantine for a few days. And by God's grace, we are all fine now. So I'm back. Come, let's learn something interesting today. This is mainly for my students who are preparing for the examination. Come, today we are going to learn how to convert questions into indirect speech. This is in fact the second part of the same topic, indirect speech or reported speech. I have already given you the same topic with different structures there in the first video. If you haven't watched it, please do watch it. This is the second part. Come, let's learn how to change questions into indirect speech. So there are 4 kinds of sentences: statements, then imperative sentences, interrogative sentences, and exclamatory sentences. The first 2 was already done in my first video, and now this is the third one. This is questions. How to change questions into indirect speech. Let's look at this sentence now. David said, "Are you fine?" So who is the speaker here? David, right? What did he say? Are you fine? So it's a question, right? Are you fine? The answer for this question is either yes or no. So this is a yes or no question. See how we are going to change this into indirect speech. So we would start with the same subject, David, and now see the reporting verb given here is said, which you cannot use for questions. So you must change this first. It's a question. So first what we have to do is to change the reporting verb. The reporting verb is changed here. David asked. Now, to whom did David ask is not given here. So we can assume it. Okay, we can assume it. So let me put it as me. Okay, so whatever you assume, you're going to put it in bracket. David asked me. Now, this is a yes or no question. You need a connective to join both the parts. So, my option is either to use if or whether. Okay, so this is a connective that you use for yes or no questions. So, if, now, here is something interesting here. Look at the word order. R is the main, it's a verb here, auxiliary verb, and U is the subject. This is a pattern of any kind of question. Now, when you write the answer in indirect speech, remember, you don't have different kinds of sentences. In indirect speech, your answer is always in statement form. So, this question form is to be changed into statement form. So, how will you change this? You have to change the word order. So, what will you do here? After using the connective, if or whether, you have to look at the subject. You should place a subject. And I hope you remember the changes that we make with pronouns. This is second person pronoun and we do not use it in indirect speech. This you refers to me, right? So that should be converted to I. Okay. If I, now you should use the correct form of this verb. This is present tense are, right? Your question is in present tense, and when you write the answer, you're going to write the answer in past tense. So how do you write it? I was. Whether, if I was, now the remaining part of the sentence. If I was fine. So look at the sentence. See, I didn't make use of the question mark here. I use full stop here. Because the answer is now in statement form. I didn't make use of question mark here. So remember, this is a very, very important thing that you have to remember when we change questions into indirect speech. Okay. So all your answers are going to be in the statement form, and hence we don't use the question mark here. And again, the difference that you find here in word order. Now, I is the subject here. So this is S, was is the verb, SV pattern. So this VS pattern is changed to SV pattern. This is where normally children make mistake. They do not know how to change the word order and write the correct sentence. Okay. So please be very conscious about changing the order of subject and verb. Okay. Right. Now look at the next sentence. Catherine said to her sister, "Have you done your homework?" So even for this question, have you done your homework? Yes. So Catherine is asking this question to her sister. So for this question, obviously the answer is going to be yes or no, and hence it is yes or no question. So how are you going to change this into indirect speech? So remember, let's make use of all the rules that we have already learned. Okay. So we start with the same subject, Catherine. Okay. Now you have said to. Here again it's a question, so you should use only asked. Catherine asked. Now her sister. Remember here something very important. I'm not supposed to use this to here. Asked to. Okay. Catherine asked to her sister. This is wrong because ask or asked can never be followed by to. Okay. So please don't make use of this to here, even though you have to here after said. Okay. Right. So Catherine asked her sister. Now again, you have completed the first part of the sentence. So the second part of the sentence, what do? You have to use the connective. And I told you the connective that you can use is either if or whether. Okay, that's your choice. You can use any one. The meaning is the same. Okay, so Catherine asked her sister if. Now look at the word order. This is a verb and you is a subject. Again, the thing that you have to remember is to change the word order. So what do? You have to place the subject verb first. Okay. So Catherine is asking her sister. So obviously this you is referring to her sister, and hence the pronoun that you have to use is she. She. If she. Now you have to place the verb. Okay. What's the verb here? Have. Right. Okay. So you know that has and have are the present forms. And in indirect speech, you have to change the present form into its corresponding past form. So what is the past form of has or have? It's had. So what should you use here? Had. If she had done. If she had done. Now, here you have another pronoun. This is a possessive pronoun. So this should become her. Because your homework. Whose homework? Her sister's homework. And hence it is her here. Okay, so you are changing this into another possessive pronoun, third person, her. Her homework. Her homework. So what am I doing here again? I didn't use the question mark here. I used the full stop because my answer is not a question now. It's not an interrogative sentence now. It is a statement. Okay, it is in the assertive form. It's a statement. So remember, whatever be the kind of sentence given to you, your answer in indirect speech is always only in one form, that is statement form. Now let's see how to change WH questions into indirect speech. Okay, right. Look at these sentences. David said, when will you meet her? Right. So this is a question again. Okay. So how are you going to change this? The same subject, David said. Again, you have to change the reporting verb here because it's a question. Right. David asked. Now I told you, you can assume. Asked me, asked her, asked them. Anything can be assumed here. And you can put it in bracket here. Right. So David asked me. Now you have the WH word here. After that again you can find this is the auxiliary verb and then you have the subject. Okay. So anyhow the pattern is V and S. Okay. Just like in the previous sentences I gave you and I told you that you have to be very careful about the sentence order. Okay. Right. So David asked me, now what will you do here? In the previous one we used a connective and our connective was if or whether. Okay. So here we are not going to use that connective. Instead, you will make use of the same WH word. What's the WH word here? When. So the same WH word will function as a connective here. So David asked me when. Now I told you, you have to change the word order. Okay, right. So first you have to place a subject. When. Now this is ask me. I have assumed it is me. So this you refers to I. Okay. So what would I be writing here? I. When I. Now look at the verb. You have to place this verb and you cannot use will because it's considered to be present form. What is the past form of will? Would. So this is the second rule that you have to remember. to change the tense form. Okay, right. So the present model auxiliary is changed to the past model auxiliary. When I would then meet. What about this pronoun? It is already in third person, right? And hence you needn't change that into any other form. It is already in third person. Okay. So you use the same form again. You are not using the question mark. You are using the full stop there. Okay. Right. Now with that, let's move on to the second example. Okay. Right. Kate said, how did you present the paper? Okay. Right. So here Kate, again it's a question. So I'm changing the reporting verb here. Kate asked again. For example, now I'm going to change this into him. Okay. Kate asked him again. Look at the word here. H-O-W, right. This is how. You may wonder, how can you call this as WH question? Yes, H-O-W is considered to be a WH word. Okay. Even though it doesn't start with WH. So this is a WH word. So Kate asked him how. Now look at the word order. Did is the verb here, you is the subject. Okay. Now here what is important? Did and present. You have two verbs. Okay. In order to know the right tense form used here, look at both the verbs. Did and present. Did present is equal to presented, which is past tense form. And according to the rule, simple past tense should become past perfect tense. Okay. So how will you change this? How? This you refers to, you have assumed it as him. So it refers to he. Okay. Right. How he. Now did present, I told you this is simple past tense. Simple past tense as per the rule should become past perfect tense in indirect speech. So I'm going to change this into past perfect tense. How he had presented. How do you make it past perfect tense? Had presented. Okay. Always remember past perfect tense. Whenever you use has, have or had, you have to get the third form, past participle form. How he had presented. Now what's remaining? The paper. How he had presented the paper. Again here you put a full stop, not a question mark. Okay, right. So this is all about WH questions, and I know you can make your own WH questions and you can try to change this into indirect speech. These two examples will not suffice, I know very well. So you have to do some practice even at home. Okay? Right. Come, let's look at the last form, that is exclamatory sentences, how to change this into indirect speech. Okay? Right. So Robin said, what an amazing picture. Right. So Robin is in fact exclaiming. So exclamatory sentences, you know that we use such sentences to intensify the meaning. Right. Okay, so what do you do here? Again, when you convert this into indirect speech, right? First thing that you have to do is to change the reporting verb, right? It is exclamatory sentence, so use exclaimed. Robin exclaimed. Then use the connective that, which we use for statement, right? Robin exclaimed that. Now, what an amazing picture. This is an exclamatory sentence. So now this sentence, if you change a normal statement form, how do you say? It is an amazing picture. You may look at the picture and say, it is an amazing picture. But when you say, what an amazing picture, you are giving a highlighted meaning to it. Okay, right. So we are going to write the answer only in statement form. So we don't want this intensifying meaning here. So we are not going to use what here. Instead, we are going to change this into the normal statement form. Okay, right. So exclaim that. You can write the picture was amazing. The picture was amazing. Full stop. Okay, that the picture was amazing. Or else you can say that it was an amazing picture. It was an amazing picture. That is introductory it. Okay, so that possibility is also there. You can either write it was an amazing picture or the picture was amazing, and also you can even use very amazing, okay, in order to intensify the meaning. Okay, right. Now look at this sentence. Joseph said, alas, my friend is no more. Now, when you look at the sentence, it's quite different from the previous sentence. Here, I have used exclamatory mark here, not at the end, because I have used an interjection. Alas is an interjection. Okay, right. So, your exclamatory mark comes after interjection. Okay, so when you have interjection in a sentence, you don't use all those interjections in the indirect speech. Okay, so what do you do? Again, Joseph exclaimed. Okay, that is a connective. Exclaimed that. Now we don't require this interjection in indirect speech. Instead, we have to use words that convey its meaning. When do you use alas? When somebody is very sad. So here, alas, my friend is no more. The person is sorrowful. Okay, so what do you do here? Exclaim that. Instead of using simply exclaimed, just emphasize its meaning. Exclaimed sadly. Okay, or exclaimed sorrowfully. Any word can be made use of. Sadly that. Now, this my friend refers to the speakers. So, his friend. Okay, his friend. Now look at the verb. Is given. Is present tense. It should become past tense. So, how do you change it? Was. Okay, and the remaining sentence as such we use. There's no change there. Okay, Joseph exclaimed sadly that his friend was no more. Okay, right, a full stop. Coming to the last one, Priya said, hurrah, we have won the match. So here again I have used an interjection, and this interjection shows that the speaker is overjoyed. Okay, we utter this word when we have victory, when we have succeeded. Okay, so how will you use it? Maria exclaimed. Maria exclaimed. Now, what meaning does this convey? Victory or being overjoyed. Okay, at victory. Maria exclaimed victoriously. Okay, so you can use this word that, then use your connective. This we will become they. Okay, this is first person plural, so it is becoming third person plural form they. Now here I have used an apostrophe and VE. What does this apostrophe and VE stand for? It stands for HAVE, have. Okay, so have should become had. Okay, they had, then won. That's a verb. Had won the match. So again, full stop here. So whatever changes you have to do, you have done. You have used a connective, you have used the correct reporting verb, and then you have used a word that shows its meaning, right? You have changed the verb, you have changed the pronoun, okay? Right. So with all these rules and guidelines, I hope you will be able to make any kind of sentence given to you into indirect speech. Convert any kind of sentence into indirect speech without any doubt, okay? So, hope you all understood this topic very well. Happy learning. Stay safe. Thank you.